What up? What up? What up? Welcome back to Duro Reseal Bully Camp. You know, just wanted to do something different tonight. Whereas though we like to talk about vision and we like to talk about temperament and the panel members like to talk about um, you know, their dogs and our vision. And I just wanted to talk about what inspired me to want to be a dog man. What inspired me to want to be, you know, um, I want to be one of the best. I don't just want to be a dog man. I want to be one of the best. I'm inspired to be one of the best just because I know different avenues. I know the health aspect. I know what it takes to, you know, not you can't never say create a great dog because everything is in God's hands when you do a breeding, but um, the vision that I have and the notes that I have, it allows me to be able to um, talk to people about you know what you should do as far as breeding, having a breeding program, um, different avenues, man. Because a lot of people don't talk about the health that it takes when you have a female. When you have a female dog. It you got to really watch for different parts and different things when you have a female dog. A male dog is a little different because if he's you're trying to run a program, he's not neutered. You know what I'm saying? So you just got to watch for cancer and his and his testicles and stuff like that. But a female get tricky. A female will get a lot of things, and so I just wanted to. I like to bring different avenues and different stuff to the game. Havoc 360, what up, bro? Much love, man. I appreciate you, bro. Dallas World, of course. Appreciate y'all. Salute. Much love. Um, you know, I just like to talk about different things and what inspired me. Um, like I always like to say, the American Pit Bull Terrier is what inspired me. Um, just how versatile that dog is. I mean, the athleticism, the drive, you know, we already know how strong and how much endurance they have, but that drive, man, and that athleticism, it's just different for me. Um, but I love how functional the American Pit Bull Terrier is because it's one of the most functional breeds. Like kind of sort of like a greyhound when you think about it. Because if bred correctly, like the greyhound, I mean, the movement is flawless. You know what I'm saying? What up, Tony? What up, brother? Much love, man. Salute to all y'all. Um, you know, it's just one of those things where you like to, um, pardon me, the like the greyhound. You know what I'm saying? It's just a well balanced dog. So the American Pit Bull Terrier is like that in my eyes because that slender athletic build. You know what I'm saying that it brings. It's just different for me. Um, so that's just one of the things I like about the American Pit Bull Terrier. And then, like I said before, how we created the American Bully. Came from the American Pit Bull Terrier and the Amstaff, right? And that cross, of course, was American Bulldog early on. And so, what the American Bully endured from the American Pit Bull Terrier was just like the muscle, you know what I'm saying, but with more bone. So more on the Amstaff side, you know what I'm saying? But one thing that I love about don't get me wrong, because the American Pit Bull Terrier is a companion breed as well, though people sleep on it for the companion side of it, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like that balanced structure that the American Pit Bull Terrier and the Amstaff gave to the Bully. That's why I think the Bully is one of the greatest breeds ever when it's done right. Okay, because when you start doing that extreme head, that extreme, extreme everything, that they got going on now. See, that's the stuff that I don't like. You know what I'm saying? But I do like, the balance of the regular American bully, the old school American bully, you know. So, um, like I said before, what I seen in my dog, you know what I mean? I seen, man, that thick bone. I seen that head, you know what I mean? His pedigree. We had the Razor Edge, the Rocco Mania, the Bully Blue Giants, the Iron Cross, the DDK9, all of that stuff. But the pedigree made it easier for me, but it wasn't my decision. You know what I'm saying? And it was just one of those things that I always keep in mind. Like it was, what I saw in 2 days. I just was like, man, this is a dog that, you know, of course, no dog is perfect. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to put that on him. Um, but it was just a dog that I said, man, this is a great starter dog. This is a dog that, it has great blood, good pedigree, actual good breeding stock. Because I paid full price for him. Like some of his siblings, they were on a lower price, but I paid full price for him with rights. So it was a little bit different. Um, but yeah, I mean, I just wanted to get into the foundation of the American Bully, American Pit Bull Terrier. And when you looking at your kennel, you know, I wanted you to think about some of the notes that you wrote down, some of the notes that you have that might make you go like, this is how I started, but this is actually a route that I took. Okay, because it's always a different, you can write it down, but it can always come out differently. You know what I'm saying? Than what it's sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse. Um, but for me, what I liked also is I know all his relatives. So his father, you know what I'm saying, was a great producer. I mean, his father just produced dogs bigger than him, just bigger than him. Bane is bigger than his dad. So just like, you know what I'm saying, just dogs. But he has a daughter over at Blue Sky Kennels. Oh my God, man. I think she's like 100 and something pounds, 130. And Nature Boy was not 100. I think at the most Nature Boy was about 95-pound American Bully. I think, or he might have been 100, something like that. But the daughter was a lot bigger. She's a lot more muscular, and he just got siblings. If you go to Florida Fan Bullies Instagram and you see Big Kev, you'll see Nature Boy, and then you'll see like his siblings. I mean his offspring, and which is Bane's siblings, and then it's just stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So it just let me know that his dad is a producer. 9 times out of 10, I'll get a good producer, but because it was across the board, you know what I mean? Um, you know, GR80's dog, GR80 did a collaboration breeding with the breeder I got Bane from, and GR80 Khaki's dog is a really good producer. Um, Louis V the Bully had 9 puppies, really, really good producer. A lot of the Bully Blue Giants, males and females, was great producers. At the top, the Razor Edge, the Gotti line, the Rockomania, um, Diesel the Mac Collar. He was a great producer. It was so many dogs that I knew that I've seen grow up that I just was like, you know what, man, I want to stud from this. So it just made me know, you know what I'm saying? What I want to know is I'm starting Della out on her program, starting slow at first, but I think I'll ramp up soon. But at what age are they really ready to ramp up to build strength? I mean, how old is Della? That's a good question. And the reason why I like to say, I always like to get dogs. I always say, when you're going to go hard, I like to give them until 2 years old. All right. Some people will say 1 years old, and hey, we can agree to disagree. But me personally, from what I know about dog bones, I like to say 2 years old, where you can really go hard because the bones, some dogs are slow growers, some bloodlines. This is what a lot of people don't talk about, right? Some bloodlines are different because you'll see they'll go through a lanky stage, and people will say, man, they don't look nothing like I thought, man, because the mom and the dad was, was dope. You know what I mean? They was big and structured. And that'd be somebody who don't understand the blood. You gotta trust the blood. You gotta always trust the blood of your dog. Some dogs grow slower, they bloom slower. So you gotta give them the chance, right? And then you gotta understand where the American bully comes from. So sometimes they'll coming out looking like hounds. You know what I'm saying? Well, don't some American Pit Bull Terriers come out looking like hounds, right? So you gotta give them that time to develop. Give them that time to develop. Take it slow. Give them that time to develop. I'm not saying don't let them run, because running up and down for puppy is really good. It helps build a leg strength. It helps build a hips and a joints and all of that. But it's how you do it, right? So you're not gonna be like, okay, well, I'm gonna work this puppy for 5 hours. You know what I'm saying? No. You know what I'm saying? Now you asking for arthritis to set into those joints, and for you to have other things going on with your dog, right? So you don't want to do that. So you want to make sure that you got things going on for your dog, that you got a regimen set up, how the dog works. That's going to be good for the dog in the long run. You don't want a dog that's 3 years old that got arthritis and has to be on Rimadyl. You know what I'm saying? Or have to be on gabapentin for pain. It can't run no more, can't walk. You don't want that. And that starts with you as an owner. Okay, that starts with you as an owner. That starts with you understanding the joints, the health for your pup. So I always say at 2. So at 2, she's 2 as a few months ago, then she's ready, bro. She's ready. So since you haven't worked her yet, I would say go slow. You know what I'm saying? See, a lot of people try to go fast. They like, okay, well, she gonna do this, she gonna do that, he gonna do this, he gonna do that. I want you to take it slow, because if you take it slow, you're gonna help build up her joints. You're gonna help build up, you know what I'm saying, the muscles that she needs. And it's gonna be healthy. It's not gonna be anything that's gonna be harmful, you know, to her. So that's what I think. She's starting to go real barrel chest. So I was thinking she's ready, but still wanted to ask. No, she's ready. When the chest start going in the rear, start to pop, and the shoulders start to go. Most of the time the bone is developed, but like I said, like you always want to go slow. You don't never want to go too fast and injure the dog. You know what I'm saying? Because when they grow up now, like I said, like you might not see it, you know, because they young. But once they turn 2, 3, 4 years old, then you'll start to see it and you're like, what's going on? They limping, so you don't want that. You want to take it slow, let it be slow. And that's how I feel like you should build it. Build her up to work. So, back to what I was saying, I definitely love, um, what the dogs in this pedigree produce and the structures that they produce. And Nature Boy had a very balanced temperament. So it was another thing that spoke values to me, because he had a really, really good demeanor. You know what I'm saying? So when he have a good demeanor, then that's something that you can really, that's a stable dog. And that's something that you can really build on to do different things. You know what I'm saying? So, I just don't like the dog that's just uncontrollable, just too hot, or, you know what I'm saying? That's not my style. I like a dog who just know how to just know how to work, just know how to, huh? Just carry his dollars well. What type of work are you thinking about? I'm not sure, but I thought he was just talking about regular dog work. I'm assuming, but also, then that thing came that I always say, that word that I always say, man, consistency. I like consistency. Um, the reason why I like consistency is because of the simple fact that I want to look at what I create, and I want to see, okay, like I say, no dog is perfect. And it's going to be dogs and litters, and I'm sure all of you guys can attest to this, but it's going to be dogs and litters. Some come out better than others. Some feet come out better than others. You know what I'm saying? Some heads come out better. Some structures come out better. You know what I mean? Some teeth come out better. Like certain things just come out better from the dogs. So I like consistency, because it proves that that dog is a foundation dog when you got consistency. You know what I'm saying? And you can always take that to a female, that hasn't, you know, the same type of consistency. And then you improve that female, you improve your stud. And that's what it's all about when you breed in a program. So my inspiration, I always like to talk about uh the old school blood, the Camelots. You know, I'm inspired a lot by Camelot, um, and what he's done. You know, I'm inspired a lot by BGK, what he's done. I'm inspired a lot by Bossy Kennels, um, Dave Wilson, and what they've done with you know, with the Watchdog, and how all that Watchdog, Razor Edge, Grain Line, how that all kind of tied into each other, was always like something I was inspired to do, and that's why I started the collaboration K9s, because we brothers who have different things going on, different bloodlines, you know. And like again, I was talking to Working American Bullies, and we were talking about you know, Juan Gotti, and we were talking about, you know, how a lot of people don't understand, you know, how they got Juan Gotti, the breeding process, and it takes consistency, and it takes the want to do it. You cannot build a great dog only having one, only doing that breeding one time. So having an F1, you can't, you're not building anything at that point, because you know you're not taking the time to really look at what you have in front of you, right? And say, okay, this is what I got. Let me do it again in a different way. Let me make it better. You know, you got to really look at it and see what you have. But if you just do it one time, that's not really a program. You know, you just, at that point, you just breed it. And I was never inspired to do that. I was inspired to, you know, it's different lines of the Camelot dog, you know, and that the Camelot dog ties into the old family red nose, right? That's consistency. That's want. You know what I'm saying? That's will. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm talking about. That's what I want to do. Something that um I want to do. But you know, you always have to have, in my eyes, you always have to have your own philosophy. You cannot follow what other people done. So not by any means am I saying to follow anybody, any kennel that inspires you or anything. I'm just saying, you know, my inspiration, I was never inspired by the hype breeders, you know. It was always the old school dog man, Tom Garner. It was always the guys that built stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? Not just built it for the pedigree, but built it for the long run. That people still talking about these dogs today. You know what I'm saying? People still referencing these dogs today. You know, that's history. That's legendary. You know what I'm saying? That's what a real dog program is supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I am, you know, really inspired to do. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to come in this thing, and I don't want to cheat. I don't want to be easy. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to follow everything that everybody's doing. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, the biggest trend now, you know what I'm saying, is bite work, and you know, and protection work and everything. And shout out to the brothers who do it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying by any means belittling it or nothing. I'm just saying that I dare to be different. That's all. You know what I'm saying? And that's all I'm coming from. Not coming from nowhere else. You know what I'm saying? Um, Not trying to worry about what the next kennel, you know, is doing. You know what I'm saying? Just worry about what Duro Recio Bully Camp is doing. You know what I mean? You know, we want to always, like I said, no dog is perfect. Even though we get our dogs and we look at our dogs and we say to ourselves, we say, you know, man, this dog is, he nice or she nice, right? And we love that dog, and I get it. You know what I'm saying? But there's always a flaw in that dog that we can fix. Okay, let's not be a fool. Let's make sure, you know what I'm saying? Let's try to always fix that. Let's have health first. A lot of people don't talk about health. Let's have health first. You know what I mean? We can't just breed for bone. We can't just breed for color. But let's make sure we throwing out healthy pups to the consumers. And that's another thing that, you know, I'm inspired to do, because I know the other side of it, right? So you got to keep health first, man. And I want everyone that, is inspired like me to build consistency. You know what I'm saying? That's only going to help you in the long run to be a legend. You know what I'm saying? I'm just inspired a little bit differently. And I just seen how my OGs was doing it. You know what I mean? And that's something that I'm inspired to do, what they were doing. You know what I mean? Della's flaw is jumping, stealing food, working on that, but she definitely has the lab food still in spirit. But brother, you know what I'm saying though. But this is what you gotta understand though, right? That's not really a flaw. I'm talking about when you look at flaws from Della. I'm talking about like you look at her chest, you look at her feet. You know what I'm saying? You look at um her top line. You look at stuff like that. If if it's things and flaws in her structure, yeah, her temperament is a flaw. But if it's things in her structure, I feel like you know you can fix that. You know what I'm saying? And I think that should be um, one of your focus. You know what I'm saying? You can always train her. Training her is more so her stealing food. That's more so training. But I mean, like really fixing, you know, some of her flaws that she has as a dog. You know, um, one thing I want to always continue to talk about, what I'm saying, is vision. You know what I'm saying? Your vision is your blueprint. Keep your vision, man. Don't stop pushing your vision. You know what I'm saying? You make sure that you study, be a student always. Make sure you evolve. Do not stay the same. Make sure you evolve, man. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you evolve because you have to evolve. Period in life. So make sure your kennel evolves. Don't stay stagnant. Don't go stale. You know, one thing that worked, don't continue to try to use that tactic because it worked one time. You got to revamp yourself, revamp your yard sometimes, and that helps a lot. You know what I'm saying? You got to understand your blueprint, man. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. You know what I mean? And I just when you have that, you just got to understand patience. You like I said before, we didn't really get a chance to talk about it because we had connection issues the last show, and this would kind of prompt me to do this show. But the patience, you know what I'm saying, and the vision to build a kennel, you know what I'm saying. You have to want that, okay? You got to have the patience, man. You can't think that you're gonna rush it because you're trying to impress social media or you're trying to make more content. Man, you got to do it right. You got to do it right. You got to do it the way that it needs to be done so that you can have longevity. You don't want to play yourself out, man. You know what I'm saying? Um, and then like I always say, man, if you could produce one, you could produce another. You know what I'm saying? That's how you build your bloodline, man. You know what I'm saying? You, you have to build it with that in mindset, with that mindset, You can't think that you're just going to be like, oh, man, you know what I'm saying? I just got this one and that's it. No, man, you got to have that consistency, man. You got to build it with that purpose. You got to build it with that one. You got to use that blueprint. All of these things matter. You know what I'm saying? When you're doing what you're doing, man. And that's just what I wanted to say, you know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of things that we overlook when we got these dolls or when we're trying to do something. You know what I'm saying? The old school influence, you know what I'm saying? It just it's different, man. It's different. You know what I'm saying? And when you think about it, you're like, okay, man, look what Tom done. And look how he sell his dogs. You know what I'm saying? He's still doing it right now, selling his dogs. That's legendary. He's a legend. So even when he's no longer on this earth, knock on wood, you know, but his productions and his name going to always ring a bell. And I feel like that's just legendary. You know what I'm saying? That's just legendary. You know what I mean? And that's how I feel. The same thing. I feel the same way about Camelot. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the early on. I mean, just look at what Camelot did back in the day in the '90s. You know what I'm saying? Just alone. Just look at what Camelot done. You know what I'm saying? And then think about where you at now. He's a lot older now too. But just look at what he's done, for a lot of the dog breeds you know, that he's created, the lines that he's created. Just look at that. You know what I mean? You just see the consistency that he's done. You see everything that he's building, and it's just one of those things. Is inspiring to me as a dog man. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I always say, you know, for that, don't tracking what you've done. It matters. You know, it matters to me. Yeah, I hear you. I'll have to look at her from that angle of body lines to figure that out. It's all good, brother. It's all good, man. But yeah, when you just look at her, just really look at her, man. Just and you'll see some of the flaws, and you'll say, man, I gotta fix this, or I could fix this. You know, no dog is perfect, even though if they look nice. It's always something somebody or judge, if it was being judged, can pick out and say, oh, it doesn't have this, it doesn't have that. It's always that type of thing. So, that's where I'm coming from. I do think Doro, what you got on your side, for sure, with experience both as a dog man and a vet tech, is going at this both experimental. Yeah, it's scientifically. Yes. But the thing is, for me, the reason why, I was in emergency, okay? So the reason why I push health so much is because the things that I saw, and a lot of it was bad breeding. Okay. A lot of it was bad breeding. It wasn't the dogs, it was the people breeding the dogs. Okay. And when you think about that, when you say to yourself, you say, okay, man, this dog is coming in. Really nice dog. I mean, I seen tribe bullies in emergency, man. And they had to stay 6 days, 7 days. And some of them was due to, things, parvo, distemper, certain things, so you get an infectious dog. Not everything was structurally, but it was a lot of times, man, it was structural issues. You know how many bullies and American Pit Bull Terriers had to have TPLO surgery? That, you know what I'm saying? There's certain things. So when I say health test your dogs, you health testing those hips, because those hips and those knees, you know what I'm saying? That's going to let you know, okay, this dog has good hips, this dog have good elbows, this dog have good knees, this dog have good MCLs, LCLs, everything. When you get that dog health checked, right, and they health check it, you know they're going to write down a report, and it's going to tell you on that report is going to tell you if your dog check out in every category, right? And if it check out in every category, because it's not just those things, they're gonna check eyes, they're gonna check nose, they're gonna check teeth, okay? They're gonna check paws, they're gonna check anal glands and anal sacs, because some dogs are more prone for anal cancer, right? They're gonna check different things on the dog, and all of those things have to check out. And I think that's what scare a lot of people, why they won't do health testing, because they're saying to themselves, man, they're eager to breed. They don't want to know the bad part of it, you know. But when I started my channel, I wanted to make those aware. You know what I'm saying? Because the I'm not saying, I say the vet field is good in certain ways, and then it's bad in certain ways, because a lot of times it's just about money. You see what I'm saying? It's just about money a lot of times. So a lot of times I tell people, like, man, listen, if it's this and this, that, and the third going on, you don't need to go to the vet. You could get this over the counter. You can get that over the counter. You can get this from Chewy. You can get that from Chewy. Those type of things. Knowing how to clean up parvo. A lot of people have parvo puppies. They don't understand that you still have to clean that area. You cannot whelp another litter in there. I don't care if it was parvo in there. You had it last time you had a litter. It was 12 months ago. You then disinfected the room the right way. I'm gonna tell you that now. What did you clean it with? You can't just bleach it and think that you're good. You're gonna have parvo again. It's different cleaners you have to get. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I started Doro Recio Bully Camp channel. That's why I started talking to the dog community. That's why I started saying, trying to help brothers and sisters do what they need to do. So they'll be aware when they go to the vet. You know what I'm saying? They not just going to the vet, and not be aware of it. They aware of what they need to do. You know, that's why I started my channel. The best thing for us is to know. So that's the major thing. If we know, then we can do better. If we can do better, that means our consumers have dogs that live a lot longer. Not turn 8 and they gone, but they 15 and they gone. I feel like that's fair. You know, dogs was never supposed to live as long as humans, but you know, a lot of times selfish ways and selfish breedings and emotional breedings has put dogs' health in state, right? And that's what I'm saying. We have to do better. And if we do better, it helps us out. It helps the consumers out. You know what I'm saying? That's why I like ethical breedings versus non-ethical breedings, because it's just going to help you in the long run. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, I seen a lot of stuff in emergency, man. A lot of stuff. And like I said, and some of them was coming from, and this is another thing, and this is why I tell people as well. I see, and that's why I'm not uninspired to breed, right? Because I tell people all the time, a lot of them dogs was coming from places. You ever heard? Jojo, I know Delaware. I know you heard about what goes on in Lancaster. We was talking about Lancaster the other day, and I know you heard about what was going on. And some of those dogs just be on the farm, and they is a bunch of dogs on the farm or on something like that on some type of land, and they all just mating, right? And then they go to the shelters, you know what I'm saying? And then when they go to the shelters, then they trying to adopt them out, right? And then when they adopt them out, that consumer from that type of, that lead, now they got health problems. Now they spending $10,000 on a shelter dog, right? And that's unethical, and that's a part of that unethical side, right? So everything doesn't come, and I try to tell people that the backyard breeders, the backyard but everybody is not an unethical breeder, right? There's not dogs that they're saying, hey man, yeah, just let them tie, I got puppies. You know what I mean? Just let them do this, I got puppies. No, 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 no. That's not what's going on. So everything is not the fault. And that's where you getting these dogs that's coming at a high rapid rate that's in the shelter. But they'll look at people who's inspired to do it, who have a building, who have a business, and you a bad person because you breed dogs, because all these dogs is in the shelter. So that's why I tell people it's a different side. It's not always the breeders. You know what I'm saying? It's not always. And that's just how it is, man. Now, Mac, what's up, brother? You were supposed to be up here with me, man. You know what I'm saying? It's all good. Yeah, I heard too much, but you added some more about the story illuminating about the deal between rescues and the puppy mills. Yes, they got, yes, that's true. They got deals where they tell them not to, the puppies, and just surrender them to them, So it's a certain time, I forget the time, bro, because when I heard about this was, man, this was 2019, I believe, 2019 or 2020, when I heard about the deal that they got of Lancaster not to the puppies, you know what I'm saying, unalive the puppies, you know what I'm saying. um that's when I heard about that. So that deal stands, and like that deal was like with Home at Last, you know what I'm saying. So Home at Last is a rescue of people who goes out to Lancaster. Some of them come from the South and certain places in the South. So you get the mixed breeds and the dogs that look weird. You'll get those, and that's the dogs I'm talking about that come and they have that weird look to them. You know what I'm saying? Those are dogs that's just on a farm, and it's a corgi. You know what I mean? It's an American bulldog on the yard. It's a Staffy mix. It's a pit mix. It's a Labrador, and they're all just mixing and breeding together. And now they got puppies and puppies and puppies and puppies, and that's what happened. Then the humane society comes and they, confiscate those animals, you know what I'm saying? And now they end up in shelters and now they're looking for homes, you see? And that's not the reason, that's not the point, that's not the people that I be talking to. I try to talk to people that's like us, people that's inspired to do it and do it for real. I'm talking to people like us. This is how I want us to be better, so that what we do don't end up in the shelter. From what we do, it's not being on the street. It's not being mistreated. It's going somewhere where it can thrive. We got updates on the pups. We can show, we want people talking about what we create. So, you know what I'm saying? If we had a bloodline called Collaboration K9s, we want people to be on YouTube talking about Collaboration K9 dogs. We want that. We don't want to just be saying, oh, yeah, man, I got this dog. We did this, but we don't know where none of them at. That's, you know what I'm saying? That's not that's not ethical to me. You know what I'm saying? For us to know where they at and we can show where they at, now that's the flex. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying when we think about not just the money side of it, but the dog. You know what I'm saying? Now, like I said, everything is not everybody's fault, right? Some people go through, I'm gonna say it again, some people go through financial problems. Okay. Some people get kicked out by their girlfriend. She said, I had enough of this. What if that man gets sick? You know, and it's too much pressure on the wife. And she like, this dog got to be rehomed. She tried to rehome it. She couldn't. She took it to the shelter. Not everything is the breeder's fault. But what I'm saying is, if you got a clause where if something was to happen, that you the first person that they should be able to contact and you take it back, and then say if you couldn't rehome it. Now I feel like that's changing the narrative around, dogs in the shelter, right? And I feel like that has to be that. You know what I'm saying? You want to change the narrative because that help us out. That helps people that's inspired to have a program out, right? So Dallas World, I seen so much, man, and that's just what it is. And that's what prompted me to want to share stories and want to share the knowledge to dog men and dog women, you know, to try to help. Because it starts when before you even let those two dogs lock, you know, you having an idea of breeding. It starts there. You know what I'm saying? And if you do things right, you're really not gonna have no health issues. If and that's not guaranteed, man. Because like I said, things happen. But the more you cross your T's and dot your I's, the better chance your puppies and your program and your name have longevity. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what it is, man. Um, but I just feel like that's how it has to be. Mac, let me send you the link, bro. I send you the link. For sure, for sure. I'll send you the link. But yeah, I feel like that's what it has to be. Um, the more and more I feel like we have to make sure we do business the right way. And the more dogs we breed, you know, the more we got to be held accountable. Um, you know, and that's just how it is, man. Mac, did you get it, Mac? Yeah. Let me know. Let me know if you got it, Mac. I don't even know what you're talking about, cuz, but I see you trying to, I see something you trying to say something. Who a bum? Who you calling a bum? Your mother's a bum. Fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? Mac, let me know if you got it, Mac. But yeah, the more and more you try, you know what I'm saying, to do the right thing, the better it is, for the dog. And that's what it's about, man. It's about the dog, you know. It's about the dog. That's what it should always be about. And that's how I feel, genuinely, man. You know, um, I'm gonna just continue to Max see if he got it. But yeah, so it's so many things that I've seen in the emergency room, and I'm gonna do a live, maybe I think, but I believe next week I'm gonna do a live about the emergency room, and I'm gonna do that um, with another nurse, with another tech, and we'll break down certain things um, that a person might have seen. Um, and in different cases, we won't be able to say too much because of the HIPAA violation, but certain things, we will be able to say it differently, but you guys will still be able to follow through and follow along. And I feel like that'll be dope for you guys to hear, because you don't really hear that type of side of things, right? You don't really hear about what we dealt with in emergency, and the rush, because people don't understand vet techs is we are what your dog see before the doctor comes see. You know what I'm saying? So we are the ones that's giving those shots. We are the ones that's giving that dewormer. If it's a GP, or if it's a emergency room, we're the ones that's coming to get that dog. Unless it's like a cold, and a cold is like that dog ain't really breathing. That we got a gurney, we running out the door. Everybody is doing it. Everybody pushing that joint, just like a real hospital, for humans. Everybody's going in. We trying to do and save that animal's life. You know what I mean? So that's what you got to understand. Mac, did you get it, Mac? I don't know if Mac's still in there, y'all. Need a new link? Hold on, I thought I. Hold on, bro. Hold on, brother. I thought. Hold on. Yeah, yeah. But that's just how it is, man. Um, I do think that's part of the building of a community, brick by brick, is setting up so that cause, hold on, pardon me, is setting up so that the contact is regular, and even to and even up to community meets to show dogs that are within the community. Yeah, I agree. Now, Mac, what's up, bro?
Duro,
What's good, brother?
man, just cooling, man, just cooling. How you doing,
Just,
brother?
oh man, I'm good, man. I'm blessed. I can't complain too much.
Yes, sir.
How everything with you, man? You good?
It's another day with the dog.
I hear that. I hear that like a mug, man. Hey, let me ask you, man. What inspired you, bro?
Inspired me far as the dogs.
Yeah, wanting to be a dog, man.
Um, well, I think I always been drawn to animals because I always had a care for animals. So I had like a turtle, I had a rabbit. My first dog, I didn't care what the breed was. I just wanted a dog.
Hmm.
So like I told you, I think it was the guy I got it from.
Hmm.
He was like, "Man, I think a coyote done made it with my dog out because he had a dog outside.
Hmm.
So he gave me that dog, and that was my first experience with a dog. I was in high school when I got her, and then I got a pit bull that my uncle had was breeding pit bulls, and he had a blue eye, so I called him Blue. And he kind of I wasn't settled in, so I kind of put the kennel up over my uncle's house and went back over there, and he was like, "No, I don't know you no more." I'm talking about I had got this guy muscled up by training him with the water hose because I
Hmm.
had took him outside one day and turned the water on, and he was attracted to the water hose, and I just started running with it, and he loved it. So that was one of the games we played with the water hose. So he was real pretty good looking dog. And then I started noticing as social media started growing, other dog men and actually people that was into the dogs and into breeds and stuff. So that's when I decided that the dog breed that mostly fits me and mostly I grew up around was pit bulls. So got into the
Mm,
pit bulls.
okay. Okay. Any specific breeder encourage you? Well, not encourage you, but yeah, encourage you to.
Um, well, locally it was the people that was around me, but when I
Mhm.
started looking at social media, um, you could not dodge the hawk come up unless you was under a rock.
Absolutely, man.
So I mean that was astonishing to see um, a dog get so much popularity, and it was a wave too because you never really saw dogs that big.
Hmm.
So with him being an open book, man, I just soaked it all in.
Mm,
His everyday uh, video catalog, and they gave me a lot of inspiration.
mm, okay. I could say, man, I feel the same way. Um, I forget it, I don't forget, but the Hulk definitely was um monumental, and me wanting to you know get into this and be a dog man. Um, but the more and more, you go back and you think about, like I said, man, you think about that Razor Edge, man. You think about that Juan Gotti. You think about Watchdog. You think about Camelot. Um, and then just like what it really inspired me is because when you go back in when you go back in a Bossy Dogs pedigree, the Bossy Dogs was really like the foundation was a lot of Camelot. It was a lot of Camelot in the Bossy bloodline.
And that's
And
the big
so,
dogs, right?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Tony said, salute now, Mac.
Salute T.
But yeah, um, but yeah, it was heavy. Um, Camelot the Duke and all of those old school Camelot dogs. A lot of Bossy's foundation was that, and then a lot of other bully breeders as well. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm saying. Like when you take something and you build on it and you create your own thing, you create your own bloodline. It's one of those things that's legendary what she did, starting from Camelot and going all the way to now it's considered Bossy's Bossy blood. This is a Bossy Kennels dog, is what people saying when they got that bloodline, right? So that was very legendary what she did, and she's a person that's going to be talked about when she's no longer here. You know what I mean? God forbid.
Right.
Uh, I was going to mention it earlier, but the book by James Harrod, All Creatures Big and Small, reading that as a kid made me think a lot more about animals, but especially dogs. And see, I see what you're saying, man. I do. And that's what it should be, man. Like it should be about the dogs. Like Max said. Like Max said, I go back to this all the time. Mac was like, man, I can't put my dog in no hog. I don't want him to get hurt. You know what I'm saying? Like I love my dogs. And, him saying that was just, I just felt like that was honorable because a lot of people scared to say things on live about loving a dog or whatever and having genuine love for the dog. They feel like it makes them soft. You know what I'm saying? And I just don't feel that way. I feel like a dog, should definitely be, loved, and you gotta have that genuine love for the dog to make it, you know, uh, to have his best quality of life, man.
Exactly.
So that's how I feel, man.
Yeah, once I found out that you can actually have your input to
Hmm.
have what you desire, you
Hmm.
know, that kind of turned my world upside. Like, man, I can actually create what I want.
Yep.
Yeah,
And that's
that was
the
really what
thing.
turned my light on.
Absolutely. See, like I always say, like you know, and even still, a lot of people still got. I mean, Razor Edge have a whole community on Facebook. A lot of people still love the old school Razor Edge blood, right? And when you think about what Dave Wilson and Carlos did, you know what I'm saying? They took the American Pit Bull Terrier and the Amstaff, you know what I'm saying, and they bred it, for the more bone, you know what I mean, the thicker body, you know what I mean, the stable temperament, the family oriented type of, you know, dog, because that back then in the '90s, the American Pit Bull Terrier, anything bully was not family oriented. You know what I'm saying? It was if you wanted a family dog, people was buying golden retrievers, the Lassie dogs. What's the Lassie dogs again, man? I forget what's that dog, man.
The
Uh
lassie, she was a not a border collie, but
yeah, she was a border collie. Yeah. Yep. Border collie. They was getting border collies, not knowing they really don't like kids, They were going every which way but wanting to go, American Pit Bull Terrier, and Razor Edge, I just feel like you you can't talk about the American bully without talking about Razor Edge. You know what I'm saying? You have to mention Razor Edge because that's at the roots of almost every bully line. It's a lot like Camelot.
right. I mean, now that you say that, it kind of makes me want to take my hat off to them because not only did they create the dog, but they created a standard to it that
Hmm.
that can be replicated over and over,
Right, right.
and it's not some big sloppy dog.
No,
That we did they do due diligence.
right. And see, that was the thing. That's what I like. Like Yella told me, Yella was like, you kind of like what I like, Doro. You like that tight stomach. You don't, you like that body. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I like. I don't really like the mastiff American bully look. You know what I'm saying? I like the old school, like the one I had. Like, you know what I'm saying? I like that look. Like that's the type of American bully that's my style. That's my look. That's the one I like. That's the one I'm rocking with. You know what I mean? Because that just like Bane just reminds me of a Camelot dog. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just reminds me of a Camelot dog, reminds me of a Razor Edge dog, but he also, you can also see, DDK9 and in certain productions that they had, So it's just one of those things. It's like, you know, I love my dog, not just for that, but it's just for the simple fact that he's 100% what I wanted when I purchased him, and that's just why I'm like, man, I don't a lot of people want the big sloppy, man, and I don't want the big sloppy,
Right.
and everybody have their own taste in dogs. So what might be a person taste, it might not be my taste, but that's not a knock on them for, having that type of taste. You know what I'm saying? And it's like it shouldn't be a knock on mine for mine being this type of taste. So that's how I feel. Yes, sir, have it. Yes, sir. Razor edge, big and bullies. Yes, yes, man. Yes, it is. And that's what I'm saying. Like when you think about it and you go back to a lot of pedigrees, man, even if you go back, 12 generations, you're gonna have some Razor Edge somewhere. You know what I'm saying? I went back and 12 generations on Bane, and Juan Gotti is in his pedigree. And I never even knew. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I went back 12 generations and tracked it, and I'm like, oh snap, you know,
Mhm.
Juan Gotti in his pedigree. And that's, you know what I'm saying? That's just like, yo, man, like, and just look at what jumped off of Razor Edge. What jumped off of Razor Edge? It was, what is it, Gotti? Um isn't it Gotti line next? Um Gotti line was built off of Razor Edge, am I right?
I think so. And then it split in two ways
Right,
with Ed line.
right, right. Because Juan Gotti to me was more amp staff, his look, meaning like his body, his phenotype. He was more amp staff to me than anything. Though he was bully because he had that big old chest. You know what I'm saying? He had a nice size head. And but to me he was more like he had that am staff kind of like that AKC am staff kind of build. So you can definitely see the influence of the am staff in Juan Gotti. You know what I'm saying? Whereas though, like, if you look at like our boy the Hawk, like that's a different type of American bully than Juan Gotti. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Totally different phenotypes, different heads, different structures, different bodies. And somebody had commented in the chat and they said, "Man, I think Hawk could have been better if they had took some weight off of him." And I can't. I was looking at him the other day, and I can't agree more. Like if they would have cut him down a little bit, and he was boned up, but if they would have really like worked him and had that bone like really, really, really like pop out, man, I feel like he would have looked way better.
Yeah. He would have lost the sloppiness, but I think
Hmm.
that's what kept him ahead of the league is at one point
Yeah,
until other breeders caught up
yeah. Facts,
and
facts.
surpassed. They surpassed it.
Yeah, yep. Oh, hold on. My fault, Dallas World. Dallas World said, Mac, what was your favorite creation as far as dogs that you cooked up? Ooh, tell him, Mac.
My favorite creation of dogs that I cooked up.
Yeah.
Um, I think I will. My next breeding will, I think, will be my milestone to be my favorite. But
Hmm.
right now, uh, the last breeding I did to make uh, the female foundation,
Hmm.
I couldn't be more proud of.
Okay.
Yeah, because I
Okay.
started with a male, but that's what any breeder that's been doing this for a while will
Hmm.
tell you to start with a female, a good foundation female.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
they
it took
will.
took me about 4 years to cook that up.
Yeah. Yeah, they will. They will. Did I miss some? Did I miss some? Oh, hold on. My fault, Tony. I didn't even see this. Hold on. That's why I hate when people just say it's a companion dog. I think it's kind of misinformation um, that can catch people off guard. They expect a couch potato and get different drives. Absolutely. But a companion dog, see, this is the thing. And Tony, you're absolutely right. But see, the thing is, with a companion dog, it still comes for a person to understand that breed, right? And this is what I'm saying. Look at the dogs that's companion dogs, right? Look at the Labrador, you know what I'm saying? Look at the Labrador. The Labrador is a really, really popular companion dog when you think about it, right? And look at what they can do. Now, it's people that got labs hunting, you know, it's people that have dogs, labs coyote hunting. They got them, they take them with them fishing, they take them hiking. They got different um jobs and tasks, right? And when you really think about it, you're saying to yourself, okay, cool, right? Um, but that doesn't mean that that's a couch potato dog by any means. Now, the Labrador can be with the family and the kids, no doubt, no question. But that dog has a purpose. Okay, that dog is versatile. So the people that have Labradors don't sleep on the golden retrievers either. That's another companion dog. You know what I'm saying? People they sleep on the golden retriever. And a golden retriever is a dog that, you know, it's not soft for real, man.
Yeah,
I've seen
you're not breaking in the house with the
no, not with no
with the
golden
Goldie in
retriever.
there.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Um, it's
And I
one of those. Yeah, go ahead, brother. Go
and
ahead.
I just think people got the right terminology. They just got the timeline uh, maybe messed up. In my opinion, companion dogs are a companion dog. You know, you got your poodles, your Shih Tzus, and et cetera, et cetera. Now, when it comes to the bully,
Hmm.
Dave Wilson, um, and maybe it's because things seem so extended because it feel like there's a ownership to it,
Hmm.
and there's no ownership to any other breed. You know what I mean? There's nobody standing over the German Shepherd. There's nobody standing over the Rottweiler. But there's somebody that's monitoring this bully. So
Right.
he said his bully is a companion. So from that point on, if you are um, participating in what his vision is the bully to be, then yes, your dog is a companion dog. If you're
Facts.
still with the old school and the razor edge, so on and so forth, then yeah, you can work, you can do some things. And
Facts.
it was good to see that dog in the in what's his name, Wick, John Wick represent.
You talking about the American Bully?
Yeah, it was good to see a good working dog.
I agree. I totally agree. But I agree with you, Matt. But kind of where I was going with it is this, and you absolutely right, and it's going to tie into what you're saying. But this is what I'm saying also, Tony, to what you're saying, and I hear that, bro. But this is when, like, Tony, you're a breeder, you got productions all over, right? So the thing about it is, you going to tell your consumer, because different breeders bring different things, right? You can have a breeding with, say, you got a girl named, I don't know, like Mac, you got a dog named Lily. So Tony, say your dog name was Lily, right? And then you say you got a boy named Rock, right? And you might say a person might say you might have puppies, and puppy might say a person might say, "Yo, you got pups available?" You like, yeah, but not these right here. These right here, this little right here that I have is going to a different type of consumer. But I do have something coming up with my dog Rock and Lily that might be suitable for what you're looking for, right? Now, pardon me. Now, that is responsibility, and that's letting the consumer know and have an understanding of what they're buying, right? So yeah, you can't just say companion dog and then your dog got drive and your dog, has aggression and your dog have, you know, able to guard, right? But it's some American bullies that's not like that. You know what I'm saying? There's some American bullies that are really just nice dogs,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you don't see them really do too much. You know what I'm saying? They don't have the will to walk and run. I mean, they got the will to walk and run, but they don't have the will to really work. You know,
They
and
literally shop dogs.
right. You know what I'm saying? Or those the type of bullies that can be in a show, so to speak, right? And so those are the ones that you have to be able to communicate with your consumer, let them know 100% what you have and what they're expecting. And that's your responsibility, right? So that would be all of our responsibilities. Mine's, Max, yours, Havoc's, that would be everybody's responsibility, Tony. You know what I'm saying? So when that consumer understands, they got kids, they understand, okay, I got a 2 year old, terrible twos, he might grab the dog's, testicles, and you don't want that dog turning around biting his face off, right? So it's different avenues in American bully, and people have to understand that too. You know what I'm saying? Everybody American bully is not the same. That's the biggest misconception of the breed. You know what I'm saying? That's the biggest one. Everybody, yeah, my American, but yeah, no, they're not all the same. We got some American Pit Bull Terrier bloodlines that's more so on the nicer side versus some of the other blood that's more so on the, yeah, I'm like that side, right? And you ain't gonna sell that, yeah, I'm like that side to a little nice little lady that got a family. You know what I'm saying? That's what comes with that responsibility.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Man, my neighbor wanted one of my dogs. I could
Uh-huh.
not do it.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, I knew that like they both walk with a limp, him and the lady,
Mm-hmm.
and these are like high drive dogs. So I'm like, no. First of all, then I just can't open my damn door and just see my dog every day and be like, "Get my damn dog back," because
Yeah.
this was before I moved, and they was like, "Shh, right, right." It was real close.
Yeah. You
So
wouldn't
yeah,
be able to
I
you wouldn't
couldn't
be
do
able to
it.
stomach that.
Yeah, I wanted the money, but I couldn't do it.
I feel you. And that was responsible right there. That was responsible. So you know what I'm saying? Round of applause for Nell Mac, man. Being responsible. Not worried about that bread. You
Yes,
know what I
sir.
mean? I like that, man. Tony said my girl raised the edge on both sides with Gotti and Lucky Luciano on the side. Yo, that's a nice mix, man. I like that. I do. Lucky Luciano, Gotti line, Razor Edge. I like that, man.
I do too. I
Insane.
bet you that's the best one to see because I like to see those types of body frames, man.
Yes.
I know everybody, like to talk about the Jeep and the Red Boy, but um, I grew up with the Razor Edge body frames, and it kind of stuck with me.
Yeah. Yeah, we all got what we like. Let's be honest. Looking at Razor Edge, Ped, he comes more am staff than Pit. Pitbull was the starting point, but they already had lineup of mutts that they bred with, then proceeded with the am staff. You said mutts?
Hey, how did Crack Kennels? Do you know what's in his line?
Crack Kennels? No, I don't know him. I just follow him. I think he used I think he used Old Family Red Nose. I think he used like Red Dogs. I think it's Camelot or something of
Because
that sort.
it's an ingredients to stay big but don't get sloppy.
Yeah, yeah. I like his bullies too. I do.
Mhm.
Yeah, I like his dogs, man, for sure. You said Mutts though, insane honey badger, but they already had a lineup of mutts. 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 What you mean, brother? Let me know.
Yeah, because
Let,
it was
let
the
me know.
Vatos and it was
Yeah.
the hood cats that made these dogs, man. They ain't no poodles. They wanted that mean face.
You talking about Razor Edge?
That's what
What you talking about?
the pit bull brings a mean face. It brings a serious face
Oh, yeah,
out of all the
for sure.
breeds.
Yeah, that's why I tell people what my dogs are. They're truck dogs. At home with the adventure and activity, but just as good in front of a seat of a truck. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like with the lady that got ripped the Patterdale. That's a truck dog, right? And she got her dog, and she do what she does, with her dog. And a lot of people don't talk about the truck dogs a lot, man. That's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of people overlook the truck dogs, man, and they don't understand how those dogs are. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. That was Gr. Gr just text me. Uh, but yeah, but that's what I mean, man. You know. But
Man, I
Tony,
had Mr. Cool out.
yeah,
One of the guys stopped by
uh huh.
and man, taught me something new today.
Wow, what you mean? What happened?
Cool went up to him like, "Hey, what's going on, man?"
Hmm.
And smelt him and decided, "No, you ain't supposed to be here." Damn, man, my bad.
Yeah.
But he was a dog guy, so he kept walking forward,
Hmm.
and that's what kept everything cool.
Yeah. At
Cause
least you
when
ain't get. At least you ain't get nobody that was scary though.
yeah, if he would have turned around and ran or some shit, man, it would have been ugly.
uh, yeah, man, for sure. Tony said the lady that was breeding them kind of got stuck. She spent a lot of bread and genetics and ended up not being able to get her immediate return like she expected. Typical jumping into breeding. Yeah.
Who
Well,
that?
that's what I was talking about earlier about taking your time. You never want to just jump into it and try to do too much too fast. You always want to take your time with it and build it up slowly. You know what I'm saying? That's the main thing. But that's how people make mistakes all the time across the board. You know what I mean? Trying to do too much too fast and like I said, to impress social media, you know what I mean? To feel like they're doing something. You take your time and move at your speed and you're gonna see your blueprint work for you. And don't worry about nobody else. Worry about your blueprint working for you. And that's the main thing, man. That's how you gotta look at it. The right way, Kennels. What's up, brother? The right way. Much love. So she had very nice dolls, but people wouldn't buy them because she wasn't popular. So I got lucky and she got out of dolls. Yeah, okay. I see what you're saying. So yeah, so she just finessed her own self out of it because she didn't take the time to really build herself up. She just wanted the fast money, and see, that's what happens, man. With the looking for the fast money, you either gonna get stuck with 100 dogs, or you're gonna get out of it and say, man, this ain't for me, because your love ain't for it. You just looking for the money. You just, what I'm saying. You don't understand the grind of it and the grind of dogs. You know what I'm saying? Yep, I hear you, Tony. Great find for sure. Yes, it was, man. Brotherhood, right there. Brotherhood. I have 9 red nose pits, classic bullies, and Cane Corso puppies. Dag, word.
Got them red nose.
Yeah, I love the red nose, man.
Man,
Yeah, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like that's where it goes back to. Like I was saying, like I was talking about the old family red nose and the Camelot. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a big inspiration, for me. And when I go back in these bully, These bully pets, we see those bloodlines in there. You know what I mean? Legendary for real. You know what I
When you
mean?
looking at one red nose, you be like, okay, that's a nice dog. But when you see a whole pack of them jokers running around, man, that's a beautiful animal, and they all be looking alike.
Yeah. Oh, you said 9 weeks old. Not that you have nine. You're saying you have 9 week old red
Yep,
nose
pup
pit
pup.
classic bully Cane Corso puppies. You mean like a cross? Man, I'm gonna check out your channel then, man. See what you got. I wonder how that look. That's
Yes,
probably
sir.
crazy. Brotherhood, brotherhood, all three in one. Yeah, so I was right. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna check that out, man. See how that look. Classic bully, Cane Corso, red nose pit. Yeah, I'm gonna check that out, man. That's probably a great working dog, huh? Let me know, man, in the comments. What was your purpose when you did that, man? You know, that's a good guard dog or good working dog, or let me know. My red nose, dad, Corso, classic bully. Oh, together. Okay. Tony Mutts, he mean mixed doubles. I'm proud of you, brother. Me? You
Yeah,
talking to me,
mixed
right
double.
way? I appreciate that, man. Salute, bro. That's love right there. I
Yes,
appreciate
sir.
that. For real, man. That's what it's about. I don't mean to shit on her love for the dog. She raised them all alone, plus was a nurse and had a family. Life just kicked in. She kept some and got them good homes. Even offered me another one. Oh, okay. You know what I'm saying? I thought she was a person that was trying to rush in and trying to do too much and just really trying to do it for the bread. Because you don't really go far when you're trying to do it for the bread. Like, you know what I'm saying? You gonna go stagnant because you're gonna try to follow trends. That thing ain't gonna work out for you. It might work out for you for a minute. You might have two litters, and you know what I'm saying, you're doing for the bread, and that sell out. But then after a while, when that goes out, because people, when I'm learning today, man, this is do you guys remember back in the day when a song came out? Let's take for instance, like, man, I love DMX, so let's take for instance like the Rough Riders anthem, right? Do you guys see how how long that song, I mean, it's even legendary now, and that's like how many years ago, right? The attention span of people right now is so different, right? To the point where it's like when you try to follow trends with breeding dogs, you're gonna play yourself out for the simple fact that when that facade is over, you're gonna be stuck with that, and nobody's gonna want it. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I think preserving what you stay true to matters more than trying to do this because this is right now. I feel like you're gonna have that longevity. Like, for instance, like right way, if you know what I'm saying, you continue to do your red nose, your pit, and your Cane Corso classic bully, you know what I'm saying? That's staying true to what you got. You know what I'm saying? So when you do that, however many generations of that you have, man. Let's say you on your fourth generation with that. You know what I'm saying? You doing it. You preserving it, and that's your creation. Nobody can take that away from you, right? But I feel like like if you said tomorrow, man, I'm getting out of what I just did, man. I'm going to the pit monsters. See, that ain't thorough, man. Because when the pit monsters crash, this red nose pit Kanye Corso Classic Bully mix might have been working for you. You know what I'm saying? Then you get to the Pet Monsters, it's over with that. It ain't working for you no more. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I say that's just how it is. These are my kids, brother. I breed my preference. That's right, man. That's right. That's how you should have, brother. I respect that, man. Ain't nothing wrong with that. First of all, you said they your kids, man. So you know what I'm saying? That's just I respect that, man. You're a dog, man, in my eyes. For real, for real. You know what I'm saying? Because when you say that, that means you got genuine love for the dog. And I like dog men who got genuine love for the dog. You know what I'm saying? Forget the money, forget all that. You got love for the dog. So you in the right place, man. Salute to you, man.
Yes, sir.
She was just trying to follow the script the right way, get the best genetics. She has some muscle tone dogs too, you know. It just take time with these dogs. Yeah, it do, and that's what I was saying, man, because this is the reason why I was saying that earlier. Like for instance, you gotta understand that a lot of the times, man, brotherhood, I'm gonna always post that brotherhood, man. Salute, nothing but love. Um, but this is what I'm saying. A lot of the times people have to understand when you're dealing with American Pit Bull Terriers and when you're dealing with American Bullies, Amstaffs, like I said, you got to really trust the blood. You got to trust the blood. You know what I'm saying? You might have one, but just look at it. When Camelot puppies come out, they don't look like the parents. You know what I'm saying? They might have the color, they might have some structure, some bone, but they don't 100% look like the parent. They grow into their body, they grow into their heads, they grow into their shoulders, they grow into their top lines, they grow into their strong rears, they grow into all of those things, right? So sometimes people get down on a dog. Oh man, I thought I was getting this and I thought I was getting that, you know. And then sometimes I see people they want the bullies, you know, that look more massive because they into more of the big dogs, you know. So they like, I don't really want to go to another kennel where I gotta guess how big that dog is gonna be. So I see what this person is running, and this person has the style of body that I like, you know. And that's just what it's about, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you gotta trust the blood. You gotta understand it's a puppy. It ain't gonna just look like a monster, you know, right off the bat. You know what I'm saying? And even some puppies that do come out looking like that, you know what I'm saying? You still got to give them time to grow, their muscles to grow. You know, that takes time. You know what I mean? Give it some time, man. Give it that 12 months. You're going to start to see. You're going to start to see about 12 months. That good 9, 10, 11, 12 months. You're going to start to see that body coming and those muscles forming. You know what I'm saying? So just give your dog time. When you get a puppy, don't just always think it's supposed to 100% look like that off the bat. That's not how it is. Like I said, some bloods grow differently. Some dogs are very the bloodlines. They slow growers, so you got to give them that time to really grow, man. You know?
Or spend all your bread. Or if you got a whole bunch of bread to invest
Yeah,
in.
yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact, man. But that I like to tell people to go for what you really want. Because if you go for what you really want, there would be no surprises with your bloodline, right? So, you know what I'm saying? Like what you like, even a consumer, like I was just talking about, I seen somebody was like, man, I like this type of bully. You know what I'm saying? Like you go with that, you don't have no surprises because you already know when that thing grow up, it's going to be 130 pounds. You know what I'm saying? Because both of the parents is like that. It's gonna be 130 pounds. That's just the phenotype of that dog. And I see some dogs that have that type of style, and that's just how it is, man. And I feel like the more and more consumers learn about the dogs, the better. Across the board. Whether you bring American Pit Bull Terriers, American Bullies, any Mastiff type, a mixed breed or whatever. I feel like the consumer should definitely understand the dog before you take their money. You know what I'm saying? Don't just take their money and then just be like, okay, yeah, good, nice doing business with you. Then you fell in that dog when they don't understand it. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I think, man. But those bloodlines, man, I mean, just look at what they created, man. Just look at what they created. I mean, Juan Gotti, you know what I'm saying? Throwing knuckles, you know what I'm saying? Watchdog Griselda, you know what I'm saying? Just look at certain things that that those dogs did. You know what I mean? Throwing knuckles is in a lot of pedigrees. You know what I'm saying? A lot of pedigrees. And like I said, like when you get to the bossy dogs, bossy stacks, everybody got that. And most of they bully blood. If you got a bossy dog or got a dog from somebody who had a bossy, had bossy bloodline, most of those dogs gonna have bossy stacks in there, right? So I seen a website, man. I was very disappointed. I think I said this before, but I had a website where hold on, be looking like pictures puppies. Yeah, they do. But I've seen a website where it was like you can literally change the dog's name. You could change Bossy Stack's name, man, and you could put another dog in there, and you like build a pedigree. And I was
Mhm.
disappointed, man, but that's like how a lot of people be having those Bossy Jones, and you take it to the right registry, man, they'll do it. You know what I'm saying? It's just crazy to me. It's wicked, man. It's wicked. It's wicked. Hold on, let me get to the. Y'all was talking. Hold on. Blessings black to you, brother. I appreciate that, man. Much love. One thing I've always thought about the bullies and the corsos is that they have that quiet confidence. The bullies and the corsos, man, corsos is very confident and protective of their area and their owner, man. Like you like one of my neighbors had one um back in the day, and if she didn't like you, man, or you stayed between the houses too long, she wouldn't stop barking until that person got the hell out of there. And that's a fact. You know what I mean? Those Corsos do not play, man. And I like the Corso. I like the Corsos a lot. Crazy how them razor edge dogs be looking like Pitts's puppies. Yeah, they do. They do. And that's what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. People be stressing out, waiting on that thing to pop. Let that thing pop, though. You know what I'm saying? Let that thing pop. We as
Yeah.
people, we as people had to grow into our maturity and body form as well. Yes, that's a great point, man. That's all great points, man. All great points, and that's what I'm talking about. People have to understand. Let your dog mature, because even when your dog is 1 years old, at 2 years old, your dog gonna look different. At 3 years old, your dog a change. At 4 years old, your dog face a change. So you gotta let it mature. And some dogs get better with time. You just sneeze, bro.
No, it's this dog in here running around.
Oh, all right. I was about to say bless you, man. Okay, but
Yeah,
yeah,
but
like
I'm a witness to that, bro. Like,
go ahead,
man,
talk about it. Talk
I
about it,
had a
brother.
Lily girl was a little. I'm talking about a little squirrel. I was like, man, what am I gonna do with this? And after she was bred, spread like a truck. But
Mm,
then her daughter came out uh thick, came out with a big old rear.
mm,
So it's just getting better from there. But Leah, yeah, I didn't know. I didn't think she would turn out the way that she did.
mm. So she's the one that surprised you, huh?
Man, I mean, if talking about it, I wouldn't believe it if you were just if you were just saying it, I'd be like, yeah, okay. But
Amazing.
to see it with my own eyes, it's like, wow.
Word, word, word. And that's the thing, and that's what we was talking about before. We was talking about different breeds, and we was talking about some scatterbred dogs, and we was saying that sometimes you get different phenotypes in there that you wouldn't believe what your dog through. So that's like what GR say, like GR, like, man, you know, if I when I did this dog and this dog, I got a XL. You know what I'm saying? And you just have no idea, like you like that through an XL. But yeah, sometimes those genetics and that DNA is very, very important. You know what I'm saying? It's important, man. You just gotta really know how to breed and bring certain things out in your dogs, man. That's
Yeah,
that's the main
you
thing.
can't get away from the pedigree, I guess. I
I,
mean, you just can't get away from it.
I mean, actually, I wouldn't, bro. You know what I'm saying? If your pedigree is real and you know your pedigree is real, why would you get away from it? You know what I'm saying? Why would you get away from it? Because you can use that. Now, you're not gonna do what they did. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
but
But
I'm
you
talking
can,
about on the other hand, I'm
yeah.
sorry to cut you off, but on the flip side,
Hmm.
if it's throwing stuff that you know what I'm saying that's not in the pedigree, and you like, what the hell is this?
Okay. Now, see, that's a whole now on that side now, brother. Now, see, that's a whole different story. But before I started, I said if the pedigree is real, you know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? If the pedigree is real, because it's very rare that they throw something that's not in the pedigree. I mean, unless it's just a major flaw. You know what I'm saying with that pup. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes those things happen. Sometimes legs be turned some type of way. You know, sometimes things happen. It's not always the fault of you or the dog. Sometimes things just happen, right? But what I'm saying is that if you know your pedigree is real, why would you get away from it? If you know you have the potential to throw standards and XLs, why would you get away from throwing standards and XLs to throw something more skinnier? You know what I'm saying? You got to stick to what your pedigree really is and what your dog really is. You know what I'm saying? Now,
And you
see,
and you say that, man, but I'm talking about top top flight security. I mean, you don't get no bigger than these channels.
okay, okay.
And they done switched up their whole pedigree trying to chase the crowd.
Mm. So when you
And I
say
do think
chase,
that they
when
could
they,
have stuck with it. You know what I'm saying? Stuck with it and just added flavor
hmm
to get what they need. Then
hmm
maybe. But they changed the whole pedigree, and I think now it's taking even more time. I mean, the dogs are popular
uh-huh.
because of the route they went, but it's they still ain't get exactly what they wanted.
You know why though? You know why? Because I feel like you have to know how to breed, though. You have to know what goes. And that's what I was saying before about matching up phenotypes and understanding what you have, right? So if the female a little bit bigger than the male, that's perfect, right? But also make sure she got the phenotype closer to the phenotype of your male. So you're not really gonna take, like, for instance, like I've seen this on the street. I've never seen this on YouTube, but honestly, I seen this on the street one time, right? I've seen a little, um those little micro those little micro those little micro dogs, those little micro bullies. Not is it micro? I guess they would call it like pocket, but it kind of looked like one of those micro Jones, right?
Hmm.
And I seen them take that to a regular pit bull. You know what I'm saying? Like a regular pit bull. Now, I didn't see the offsprings of how they looked, but some of them could probably maybe look really good, and then some of them would look like, why? Why did you do that? You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying, like, why not take that to something closer? Because it was a really nice stud. He was really nice, had straight feet, nice big blocky head. He wasn't that tall, but
right,
why not take him to something, maybe to a female that's maybe just a tad bit taller to him than
right.
him, and then build off of that. Because then you keep a puppy that got the trait of the mom that's a little bit more taller, right? And then you take her to something a little bit more tall. You know, why you just gamble on that one trying to get size? And that's the
Trying to
thing.
get
People
that.
be
Yeah,
trying to, yeah, they be trying to cut corners too much, and you can't always do that. That's the thing.
funny when they do that too. You only see one puppy out of whatever, you know what I mean? One out of nine.
Yeah, yeah. Have you raised a mother to son litter yet? I've never done it. No, I'm not gonna lie to you. I've never done it, but um, I do want to take um, a father to daughter. I do want to do something like that. When I get a certain female that I'm eyeing, you know what I'm saying? I definitely want to do that to double up on all those COs, and I definitely want to do that. Um, but no, I have never raised a mother to son type of litter, but I'm sure that's not bad than sister to brother type of thing. Like that's crazy to me because I've seen that now. Now I didn't do it, but I've seen that and I've seen some dogs not be good. You know what I'm saying? Now I've seen that, but people do it all the time, and sometimes they, I don't know how, man, but sometimes what I've seen, it shook me. I've seen hearts grow out of bodies, bro. I'm not lying to y'all. Like, you know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? Like the heart come out is I've seen some things, man.
It's the hyper vigor that could happen,
Yeah,
you know.
absolutely. You're
'Cause
right.
I got lucky with my thing.
Oh, so you did a sister to brother type of thing?
Yeah, but I didn't do direct siblings. I didn't. They wasn't out of the same litter
Oh, they were
with
half.
the same parents.
They were
Yeah.
half siblings.
Hmm.
Well, half siblings, I believe, is more of a line breeding, though. I think half siblings, that's more of a line breeding. I think an inbreeding is more so they the same belly meat type of dog. Then
No,
that's that's
I
more so a line
I
breeding.
can't do
I mean,
that.
inbreeding.
Yeah, I ain't want. You don't want to take that chance, man.
Yeah, yeah, but that's what happens though. You know what I'm saying? That's what happens though. Like you'll have all type of things. You'll have eye problems. Like, one dog might have a messed up eye, man. It's I've seen some things, man. I've seen some feet. I've seen some paws only have two, like two long pads. Like I've seen some things doing stuff like that. So me, I'm a little scared of that. Now, to people that do that and they have success and maybe they know a way that you can do it a little bit better, maybe let me know, gang. Teach me. Let me know, because I'm honestly saying I do not know, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not gonna get up here and act like I know. I don't.
No,
But
I think you're right. I think you're right. It's just the chance that you can what come up out of that. You know what I
right.
mean? Because it's like a hitting the lottery type deal. But if you don't hit the lottery, you losing your brain cells, you losing a whole bunch of shit.
Well, yeah. You do lose a lot when you do inbreed a lot, though. And I said that before. But when you inbreed a whole lot and it's the same inbreeding, you do lose a lot. You do lose phenotype. You do lose the dog's intelligence. And health and intelligence have to be at the top of your list on your blueprint. I mean, it's on mine. You know, health and intelligence is important to me. You know what I'm saying? Because that let me know if the dogs are very intelligent and highly skilled, you know, you're setting them up to do a lot of different things. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we want. We want our pups to go to homes where they emotional support dogs. We want them to go to the homes where they in shows and they on TV, or they at a boarding facility and they on flyers. You know what I'm saying? It's so many different avenues that other people don't think about because their brain doesn't elevate that much. But it's so many things that if you do things correct, that you can help yourself, your building, your breedings. You can help them breedings go wherever you want them to go when you're breeding for that health and the intelligence of the dog. You know what I'm saying? That has to be number one. Everything else is second. Everything else, that don't matter at that point. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So I'm not against inbreeding. Like I said, I would do a son, a dad to his daughter. You know what I'm saying? Or a son to what I'm saying, to his mother. Like, you know what I'm saying? If those dogs, if that son, and that mother gave him what I needed him to have, and then he got that, then I'm gonna double up on those COs and take him back to his mother, and those puppies is gonna be all that. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And I learned that from one of my OGs. You know what I'm saying? He taught me that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
He
you,
taught me.
you pretty much knowing what you're getting at.
Right, right. So like that's just how it is. Like, and that's
Take a
that's
lot of the guessing game out.
yeah. And you don't want the guessing game. I mean, I don't. You know what I mean? Me personally, I don't want the guessing game. I want more so of I know what I'm getting into, and I know, when it goes to different homes and different environments, I know they can thrive in that. Because that's what I want, man. I want that. I want dogs to thrive. You know what I'm saying? That's my goal. You know what I'm saying? That's what I really want. I don't just want, to just, yeah, man, give me your money. I want dogs to thrive. I want them to go on to live healthy lives. I want them to, And that might be wishful thinking, but I think it's thinking that's achievable. You know what I'm saying? I think it's achievable thinking, man, when you just have that type of mindset. So that's really where I'm coming from, man. So this breeding that you got coming up, back to you, Mac. This breeding that you got coming up with like shots fired. I mean, you taking him to your girl, uh, big girl. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? Big mama. Pardon me. And you know, I think that's gonna be some monsters, man. I think that I mean she got muscles all over. Her rear is nice. She got nice fronts. So, man, you take her to something like that, I think you're gonna have some monsters, bro, with some nice size on them.
And that's gonna be fire.
Yeah, all blues, huh? Maybe some blue tries, and some chocolates.
Fire, man.
Yeah, yeah, I believe it. So that's just something, man. That puts you in a game with the ABKC. You know what I'm saying? They give you ABKC papers for your consumers. You know that really help you build right there. You know what I mean? So that's good. You know what I'm saying? Or I don't know, but do Big Mama already got ABKC papers?
ABR, ABA.
ABA?
Yeah,
Okay. ABA? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. ABA papers. So you know what I'm saying? That's
probably.
man. Huh?
No, I was talking to somebody.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, I think I can still register though.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. You absolutely can, bro. But that's what I'm saying. Like that. That's the more that like that type of thing, bro. Like that puts you in a different league now. You know what I'm saying? Because now you want the show dogs. Now you want to go to those shows. Me and you kind of on the same wave, man. Because I want to do some shows. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to do certain things. I'm not gonna say everything, but I want to do certain things, different things with my dogs. Like you know what I'm saying? That's gonna like take me to a next level and put it out there. You know what I'm saying? In a different way. That temperament is important, yes sir, man. Very important. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
get my practice in all last summer, man. It's been a very exciting, to say the least. Like it's fun. You get the show bug.
Right. That's right. Tony said, I've done a bro cis breeding. I didn't get anything crazy, but their parents weren't related, more scatterbred. Oh, okay. Okay. I see what you're saying, bro. But see, that's probably why you didn't though, because if they were related, you probably would have had all types of things going. You know what I'm saying? Keep pushing this channel this way, brother. I will, man. I will. This the way. This the direction we going.
Hey, you know what's crazy though? Dog men, dog women, and people that talk dog lingo,
Hmm.
understand concepts, understand uh, functions and stuff like that,
Hmm.
have a whole different terminology of what we think from the general public because when it comes to line breeding, inbreeding, anything like that, they be like, ew, what, like, why would you do that?
Right. Right. But how do you think this is what I would say to those people. How do you think some of the legendary dogs got here? They got here from line breeding and inbreeding though. You know what
Right,
I'm
you have
saying?
to educate people. You got to go down the line and educate people.
But I feel like sometimes you got to do your homework because I can come on my show and I can tell you how Juan Gotti was inbred. You know what I'm saying? I could tell you how different dogs was inbred and why they did this breeding and why this is how they got this dog. But at the same time, you do your homework, and sometimes when we read things, we understand a little bit more because breeding is a is really like a system, and it's a strategy that you have, right? And people don't understand sometimes the strategy of it. It's a strategy that your eye really have, and what you have and what direction where you can go and you could take it to, right? So you have to understand that first. And the people that really started the bloodlines, that we're talking about, you know, whether it's a popular County Corso bloodline, like my man CDC, like the top Borble lines, top German Shepherd bloodlines, American Bully, Pit Bull, you know what I'm saying, so on, right? You got to understand how some of those legendary dogs came into to play. You don't just sometimes do an outcross and then just get something legendary. Sometimes you got to stick with it, and that's why I was saying before on the last show. I was saying that's why the OGs stuck with something so long, and sometimes they ran one stud to every bitch they had on the yard. That's why they did that, because that sometimes this male genetics with that female, that's gonna be a beautiful thing. Now I got that. That's a strategy. And people have to understand the strategy. You got to understand the sauce and understand that in order for you to understand breeding. If you don't understand that, then of course you're going to hear, why would you do that? That's the most terriblest thing you could do. No, it's when you continue to do that. I always say you can do it inbreeding twice. I feel like once you do that, you shouldn't do that breeding no more. You do that once, you got what you needed, leave it alone. You know what I'm saying? Go get an outcross, bring something new in, bring something else with what you just created. That's like that. Bring that outcross in. And because you on your yard, you don't want to be too tight. That's the mistake a lot of people make. You don't want to be too tight on your yard. You want your yard to have different things, different bloodlines. You don't want to be too tight. So you want to always have an outcross, so that way you ain't always have to go out and go get a stud, or go out and go get a new female. You know what I'm saying? That's how you do it. So you don't always want to do that anyway. You might just do it one time. You got what you need now. Boom, you move on from it. That's how I feel like it should be, man. You know what I mean? I'm definitely going to shows once. Yeah, for sure. Once. Oh, that's what you were saying. Once the time is right, for sure. You know what I mean? Let me show. Yo, those shows with your dogs, man. That's gonna be crazy right there. That's gonna be crazy right there, man. What registry you use for your dogs the right way? What registry you use? And you go to those shows and show those dogs. I want to see them, man. I'm gonna go to your channel. I want to see your dogs, man. That sounds crazy. You probably got some red tiger stripes, aka Brendels. I was prepared for the worst because I've seen a lot of accidental brosis breedings that produce cleft pilots and stuff, but wanted to see how more diversity affected it. I got you, but yeah, it. See, it always depends on the dogs too, right? It depends on the dogs, man, and that's what a lot of people don't understand. You know, Sometimes you're not gonna get all of those things. You know what I'm saying? Even though you might do a inbreeding, you might not get a cleft pilot because you did an inbreeding. Now it depends on the health of your dog sometimes and what's in the bloodlines that you might get those things. So some you might not always see those like you didn't, Tony. That's how you skip that. That temperament is always important. That's number one, man. That's number one. You got to have that great temperament, because that's how you have versatility. You have versatility, then your dog is able to do a lot of different things and have a lot of different tasks, right? It's a stable dog. I like us, like I said before earlier, I like a stable dog. I don't care what nobody else talking about. I like a stable dog. I like a dog that's stable across the board. They can do different things. That's a dog that I want. That's bloodlines that I want to work with. I don't want to work with unstable dogs. Dogs that just, want to attack your mom, want to attack your sister, your niece, your nephews. I ain't got time for all that, man. No liabilities. I want stability. Yeah, me personally, even though I don't breed, I want a mix of drive and docility. I believe that makes the most stable dog. I agree, man. And that's what I just said. You know what I'm saying? Like a dog that's, has great stability. And that's what you want, man. Meaning they didn't come from line breedings. That parvo shot do you use? What parvo shot do I use? That's a great question, bro. I use um for parvo. It's two shots technically that you can use, but technically I usually do the Spectra. I think it's 10 with the lime. I usually do that. That has the parvo in there, got the everything, and the only thing you have to get is like kennel cough, bordetella. I do that. That's the one I use. But it's another one that you can get on Revival. That's just a whole parvo shot. I forget the name of it, man. Um, I should know this, man, but I'm having a brain fog right now. I like to do stuff off the top, y'all. So I don't really like to Google too much unless I'm like pressed for it, like, oh man. But I know it's one that we use in the hospital. Um, it's a big bottle, man. That's Parvo. I forget the name of it, man. But yeah, meaning they didn't come from line breedings or same bloodlines. Yup, true story. Facts. These dogs isn't a job; it's a lifestyle, and you gotta want to do it right way. You gotta want to do it. You gotta want to do that lifestyle, man. You gotta want to do it. You know what I'm saying? That's the main thing, though, because a lot of people don't understand the lifestyle, man, and that's why a lot of people get out of dogs. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't understand it. You know what I'm saying? It's a lifestyle, bro. It ain't no job, bro. Because a job, you get off. When you got dogs, you constantly working all day, every night. You know, whatever you got going on. You know, if you got pups on the ground, you know what I'm saying? You upping those pups all day, man. All way, all way around the clock, man. Ain't no breaks. You know what I'm saying? Unless something be wrong with mom's milk, man, and you got a hand feed, you got to do this and you got to do that, man. That's even extra work. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be built for this. You know what I mean? You got to want to do it, and you can't be lazy. You can't want to half-ass do it. You got to understand it, and you got to want to do it, and you got to do it at a high level. When I talk about my care for my dogs, I call it a high level of care because it's not that tractor supply care. You know what I'm saying? Just that, oh yeah, I'm just getting this, all right. You know what I'm saying? No shots, no nothing. It's high level of care, man. You know, they got their rabies shot, they got their bordetella shots, you know what I'm saying? They get dewormed every 3 months for 3 days, you know what I'm saying? Not just one hit of dewormer, 3 days, whether I'm giving them febendazole or whether I'm giving them parental. You know what I'm saying? And if I need a four quad, then I'm gonna go ahead and give me some Drontal. You know what I'm saying? But people don't understand that, man. They got their heartworm medicine, they got their tick, they flea, they got everything they need, man. You know what I'm saying? And that's high level of care. Medicated shampoo, they got everything they need. Coconut oil for their paws, for their nose, for their skin. You know what I'm saying? That's high level of care, you know, making sure they teeth. I gotta stress to y'all also understanding the hygiene of your dog's mouth is important because the hygiene for us is important, you know. So we got infection going in our mouth. We have to make sure we get that infection out of our mouth as that infection can go to our hearts. You see? And that's the same thing for your dog. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta make sure your dog gums is good, no gingivitis. You got to make sure that your dog teeth is good, and you have to be able to test them now. Just because they white don't mean they don't got a little gingivitis up in there. You got to understand it and know what you're doing. Do your homework on it. You know what I'm saying? And that's just important. And that's what I mean when I talk about people understanding the high level of care. And it's not too many people that can give this type of game because they didn't do what I do, right? They didn't have to do that. They didn't have to do dentals. They didn't have to do, dewormings. They didn't have to do shots. They didn't have to do surgeries. They didn't have to do certain things. So they don't know. But I'm able to tell y'all, I'm able to give y'all different aspect. If y'all don't know, I can make your game tighter, make you think a little bit different. And a lot of people can't do that. That's the thing. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I like to give game And I like to tell brothers and sisters about things that we can do to give our dogs that high level of care. You know what I'm saying? Coconut oil helps your dog a lot. Somebody asked me about celery because they seen my interview with CDC. They asked me about celery. They said, "Man, you give your dog celery." And I said, "Well, listen, you got to understand, celery helps with the breath. It helps us with the breath. It helps make our breath fresh. Same thing with the dog. Also, celery is mostly what? It's mostly water. So it gives hydration for your dog, right? Because animals, they're not like us. They don't understand. They don't really 100% understand, how to hydrate, themselves correctly. So yeah, you like, oh man, yeah, she drink water and this, that, and the third, but you don't understand. You can have a dehydrated dog. Now I know it. You gotta pay attention to urine. You gotta pay attention to poop. A lot of things is important and it ties in. Like you said, brother, it's a lifestyle. And you gotta be willing to live that lifestyle. It's no shortcuts, man. That's a fact. You know what I'm saying? Giving the channel excellent game. I appreciate you, man. Hold on, I can't hear you, Mac. What you say?
I say you at least help people get a good 10 years out of the dog.
That's what I'm trying to do. That's my game. You know what I'm saying? That's my aim. I'm trying to give people a good 10 years, give them a good 12, 13, 14 years of their dog, man. We understand how it feels when an animal passes away. So, you know what I'm saying? That's the thing, you know? So, that high level of care, if you doing it across the board, that keeps you out the vet, man. That keeps the vet out your pockets. Why not learn? Why not be better? Why not do better? So therefore, that you can keep more money in your pockets and understand. You know what I'm saying? That was all when I started my channel. That's what I wanted to do. I want to because I'm inspired to make dogs better. You know what I'm saying? I'm inspired to make dogs better. My breedings and things that I want to do, I want to make dogs better. You know what I'm saying? Always better. I don't want to just, oh yeah, I'm just doing this breeding because I got a female and a male. You know what I'm saying? I'm just doing this. No, I want to make it better, healthier, high level of care, give guys and women that want to learn the high level of care so that you guys can take it and you can pass it along, go on your channel. That way the right message is being pushed. You know what I'm saying? It's getting out there the right way, not, you know what I'm saying? All I ever want is people to be like, yeah, I was watching Duro and this is what I learned. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just taking my stuff and then just going on your channel talking about it like you know what you're talking about. And that's just what it is, man. One question. When you go to those shows, do you bring the mom, dad to the show? Well, they are spring. You can bring them all to the show, brother. You can bring them all to the show. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing, man.
Bring your the show is for your best production.
Hmm.
Really, that's what it's really for the people to build their best production.
Mac, you really, really low, bro.
My bad. The show is meant for them to judge your best production.
That's right.
You hear me that time?
Yeah, I heard you.
Okay.
I heard you. Thank you, brother. You welcome, man. Brotherhood, man. Brotherhood. 100. I walk right out of jobs for my dogs. That's how it should be, man. That's how it should be, man. Gorilla back. What's up, man? I've had a female bully that I that I bred to some China blood, and she's 14 months, and she still has not came in the heat. What should I do? And is a heat shot needed at this point? So at 14 months, you bred her, and she never came into heat.
Heat. So you can't breed her.
Yeah, you gotta
She
wait until
might.
she come in the heat. She in order to breed a female, she has to have two. She has to have two heat cycles, two. And I gotta tell you, man, I gotta tell you this, Gorilla back. be honest with you, sometimes a female, she 14 months, sometimes a female might not go into heat until like 2 years old, man. Like it's facts. Like different dogs have different heat cycles, and that's how it is. Like you know what I'm saying. So what I would do, she never had her heat at all, not even one. Then what I would do, man, is I would go to the vet. That's what I would do. That's what I would do. But I would still give her time. 14 months is still young though. You know what I'm saying? That's still young. So don't panic. Don't panic. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't panic because like I said, they like it's some bitches I know that didn't go into heat at 1 years old, man. And that's not out the norm. It's not, bro. It's not out the norm.
And sometimes you miss the heat because it's not like my dogs don't bleed. Sometimes the only time I know they come in the heat is because the male
Because the boy's acting up. That's right.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. But see, that's the thing though, also. And a lot of people don't understand this because I had a situation like this when a female was bleeding in her pee, right? A customer came in. He's like, man, I think she's in heat. This, that, and the third. My boy dog is licking. Boy dogs will still lick if it's a infection too. You know what I'm saying? So you got to understand she can have a UTI and you see some blood. So you really want to make sure your female is going in heat and you want to make sure you're seeing that blood come, you know, at a certain, like he said, like you want to make sure you see that blood come in a certain time, right? In certain days, and you want to count before you do that breeding. Before you do those breedings, you want to make sure. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
any swelling, get you a Q-tip and stick it around up in the oval
Boom.
to see if you get any kind of redness.
Yeah, yeah. So I wouldn't panic, bro. I wouldn't panic. I would just continue to monitor and see what it is. Cause like he said, she could have had a silent one, man. You could have missed it, or she just didn't go quite into heat yet. And sometimes females will do that, and sometimes they'll have fake ones. You know, nipples will drop, everything, and it's nothing. And then sometimes people breed their dog like that, and then no pups because it was a fake heat cycle, something offsetting, and that's how it went. That's what happened. 100 brotherhood, bro. That's funny thing. Della was like Penny with pearly white teeth. Had the vet ask multiple times, how they doing? How they doing white? While chewing on sticks and bones has seemed to work better than brushing. Well, let me tell you something, man. Let me tell you something. That's the thing, though, bro. Della's world. That's the thing. Sticks, wood, right? How dogs would clean their teeth if their dogs was in the wild, right? They would clean their teeth on bones, right? It ain't no toothbrush and toothpaste that they got on Chewy for your dog. How would they do it, right? But then the only thing with what you understand, Della's world, is that it's domesticated. So it needs certain brushing that the sticks and the bones won't do. You see what I'm saying? That's the main thing. That's what you gotta understand. You know what I'm saying? And that's what the vet should understand with the teeth. You know what I'm saying? Because and then they might recommend, they might try to hit you, they might, I'm telling you, they gonna try to hit you off and say, oh, your dog need a dental. You know what I'm saying? So, we're gonna put her under light sedation, she gonna be under anesthesia, she gonna be knocked out, and our techs are gonna do dentals, and that's how it goes, right? But it's ways around that. And I could tell you how. You know what I'm saying? So that you don't have your vet. No vet has ever looked at my dog's teeth and was like, "Yo, you need a dental." You know, and if they said that to me, I automatically know how to get rid of the plaque, know how to build up on the teeth. And the next time they see him for annual, they ain't saying that to me. My word on that. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying, bro. Facts. I ain't lying to you. Very low. Very low. For sure. I bred her mother and had her and the female has not come into heat. Wow. I think I seen her swell up. and she may have a silent heat and didn't know or didn't see it. Yep, that's how it goes, bro. That's exactly how it goes, man. That's exactly how it goes. So you wouldn't know, man. Sometimes you gotta like pay like a little extra, a little different attention. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, got you. Always wondered about that. Thank you, brother. Yeah, no doubt, man. No doubt. Yeah, that's how it goes, man. But that they'll try to hit you off, man, and try to tell you like, you know, you need a dental. When she ever had a dental, oh, she never had one. They're gonna tell you she need one. You know what I'm saying? But there's ways that you can go around it. There's ways that you can, keep that money in your pocket. You know, and so that's just what it's about. Just really just knowing. You know what I'm saying, and having to understand that high level of care. Man, I'm telling you, save your money. Save your money, man, because that's what I'm saying. That's the only thing I don't like about the vet world, man, is that it's all aimed around money. That's all it's about. A lot of times, sometimes they're gonna want to give your dog shots you don't need. Sometimes they're gonna want to give your dog this and do this procedure that it don't need. Oh, it could be this. Like for instance, right? It was a doctor that I was working with one time. Anytime a dog came in with diarrhea, the first thing he say is, "Let's do a Giardia test." Why? You know why? I'm gonna tell y'all why. This is game for y'all, just in case it happened to y'all, right? You know why? Because the Giardia test costs a lot of money just for them to test your dog and see if it got Giardia. Now, you have to understand the symptoms of Giardia, right? So if a vet ever asks you, you know, well, or suggests, let's do a Giardia test, know what you should know. Know what you should know before you even be like, okay, yeah, because that's how they get you. The people, they know that you in there and you want to save your dog and you want to help your dog get better, right? But what if your dog just got into something, you know? What if the dog food changed and, the dog food that you feed and didn't notify nobody? Did they change the very small ingredient in your food? And now your dog is having a little upset to that food. Or what if your dog, have a parasite or something? Giardia is that, but what if it has a parasite or something, a different parasite, and it's not Giardia? So you really paid that money for the actual visit and the test and everything. You don't have Giardia, so you just pretty much wasted $500-600 for no reason. You know, that's why you have to know. What you say, brother?
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I run into that problem all the time out here in the country,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't. I used to panic, but now I don't. And I don't know if specifically what you do, but a lot of times I go right to the deworming, and
Mm-hmm.
that settles everything, makes everything go back to where it needs to be.
Yep. 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 That's the thing. That's what I mean, bro. Because that happened to me. You know what I'm saying? That happened to me before, and I went right to the dewormer, and that's what stopped it. And you have to understand, if you walk your dogs or you got a yard, your dog can lick, you know, a leaf. Um, your dog can lick some grass. Um, you know, and you gotta understand that parasites is on everything. And that's why a probiotic is really good and it goes well when you deworm your dogs. Now you should give a probiotic every time, every day, right, for your dogs. But the thing about it is, when it's that month, like I do every 3 months. Now when it's that month, then I'm doing dewormings like right now, right? So they got dewormed yesterday. They get worm. They got the worm today, and they'll get the worm tomorrow, right? And this time I did fenbendazole, right? Now when I did it in November, November is their birthday, right? Not off the same litter. two different, not related, right? But both of them was born in November. Okay, so check this: they get their annual shot in November, they get dewormed, and they get their bordetella, right? So I do every 3 months, right? So there's this time. So last time I did pyrantel. And why do I switch up the dewormers? Because if you do have a parasite, you got to understand that the parasites get immune to whatever dewormer you're using. So you shouldn't always use the same dewormer every time. You should change it up. So I do fenbendazole, I do pyrantel. I do pyrantel, I do fenbendazole. You know what I'm saying? Because that switch it up, you know. And then they also had two different things that they handle. You know what I'm saying? So that's another thing that you have to understand why, that might be important to do. Switch it up. So, you know, you got round worms, hookworms, you know, pyrantel should knock that out, you know, with no problem. And that's why it's important to understand that. Hold on, I missed some things. Man, I ain't worried about nobody coming in this joint trolling, bro. So y'all might as well go back to where you're supposed to be. I just found your YouTube channel and I did subscribe to your channel. I saw you, bro, and I subscribed back to you, man. I saw you the other day subscribe, and I subscribed right back to you, man, because that's when I do. When somebody subscribed to me, I subscribe right back, man. But and I did subscribe to your channel. I'm glad I did. You're very educational. I like what you're talking about, and I will stay tuned. Thanks, real dog, man. Real dog, man. Talk. Appreciate you, man. For real, for real. Appreciate you. Apples every now and then also can help with plaque on the dog's teeth. Don't give them a whole apple because the seeds are bad for them. Yeah, apples can do it. Um, you know, and and it's certain foods that also is a great natural dewormer for your dog, like papaya. A lot of people don't talk about that, but that's another dewormer. De-earth, food grade de-earth. You know, also good for the dog's skin, but it's also a great dewormer too. But yeah, it's different things that you can do um, to help your dog's breath and help your dog's overall gut health. Because a lot of people don't understand the gut health is just like us humans. We get worms, and a lot of people don't understand that, right? So I want to tell y'all something, man, because this is funny, but it's very true. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not sure if everybody um, celebrate holidays and celebrate Thanksgiving and stuff like that, right? But you gotta understand when you got turkey. I don't eat pork, but you got turkey, you got ham, you got chicken, you got stuff like that. You gotta understand, man. You only got a certain amount of time to eat those Thanksgivings leftovers, and then you gotta get rid of them because you will get worms. If your diet is mostly a meat, then you should definitely deworm yourself. And the reason why you should deworm yourself is this: when you start craving, every time you craving something sweet, 9 times out of 10, you got a parasite. You see what I'm saying? So deworming yourself is important. Deworming your dogs is just important, right? Because if your dogs is in your house, if you got a dog or two or three or four that's in your house, or your dogs come in your house, then you should deworm yourself as well, and everybody else in your house. Now, don't use nothing that's only for dogs. Now pyrantel is for humans as well. So pyrantel is a dewormer that you can definitely deworm. I deworm myself with pyrantel all the time. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't. The only meats that I eat is turkey, beef, and chicken, and of course salmon, fish, and all that stuff. Right? Crabs. I do not eat pork at all. You know what I mean? And then other stuff I don't eat, like venison and all a whole bunch of other stuff that some people eat that's in their diet. I don't eat none of that stuff. But you gotta understand the difference between um, you know, what meats are very high in different things, right? And even fish, you got to be certain fish you got to be very careful with when it comes to worms and different stuff. And if it's a bottom fish, so you want to make sure that you understand that, and that's real game for y'all, man, for real. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Had that myself. Was drinking water from a broken mat filter, and me and 10 other kids got it. Yeah, man. Yeah, that happens, man. Yep. Thank you, Tony. Will do. Yeah, the apple seeds have arsenic in. Yep, it does. A lot of seeds you got to be careful for. Watermelon seeds, a lot of that. Um, brotherhood, brotherhood, brotherhood. Salute to the brotherhood that's in the chat, man. Salute. Thank you, Dallas. Thank you, Dallas World. You're in the right place for sure. And apples are sweet too. So don't want to overload them with sugar. See, a lot of people don't talk about that though, Tony. They don't talk about sugar either though. You know what I'm saying? And I told people in another show, I said to people, I said, you got to understand that your dog can become um, diabetic, and it had to be on insulin just like a human. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't understand that, right? So when a lot of people was packing a lot of that Dine stuff on their dog food, remember Dine? Remember that everybody was going through that? Yeah, give them this high fat calorie, give them this. Remember all that? And they was abusing Dine. You gotta understand, how many calories is good for us humans. You know what I'm saying? If we just going to load up on calories all day, you know what I'm saying, and sugary stuff all day, then what's going to happen to us? You know what I'm saying? If we ate grapes for lunch, for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then a snack, we asking ourselves to have diabetes, type 1 or 2. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to understand the same thing for your dog, you know? So like even when I do fruits and stuff, because it's a video where I got some fruit, they're not getting that every day now. Don't. And I should have said that if I didn't, but they're not getting that every day. That's not something that I'm giving them every single day. You know what I'm saying? They're getting that every now and then, you know, because certain fruits have certain benefits to it, where it helps with certain things for your dogs, different vitamins, different nutrients, different things. So you want to watch the sugar. A lot of people don't understand that, and food is already carbohydrates already. So you gotta understand that, man. A lot of people don't understand that now. Blue Line, what's up, man? What's up, brother? Much love, man. Brotherhood, much love, man, for sure. But yeah, a lot of people gotta understand that, man. Watch those dogs, man. Watch the sugar intake now, and watch how you feed it. And that's why I say, man, you can't follow too many people feeding regimens because you got to understand, you know, what they're doing, but you got to also understand what your dog needs are. You know what I'm saying? So, maybe I'll do a new video and I'll revise that and put that disclaimer in there on how much you should uh, do this and feed your dog this much fruit. Maybe yeah, that give me an idea. I'll do that. So then that'll help clear it out. You know what I'm saying? Because I ain't never think about that until now. So thank you for that, man. Thank you for that, Tony. I appreciate that, man. I'm gonna save that. I'm gonna start that, John. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate that because that just made me think. You know, but yeah, that's very true. That's very true. Mac, man, I don't know what happened to your mic, man. You was high and then you just got low.
I had to switch up and let this thing charge.
Oh, that's what happened.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Because I was like, man, you was cooking with me. I'm like, man, what happened to Mac, man? Yeah, but yeah, man, that's all cool anyway. We'll be back with another one, man. I'm gonna close this joint out anyway. Um, I just wanted to kick it with people. I wanted people to kick it with me And I appreciate everybody that's in the chat, man. Let me give everybody they love, man, for coming to kick it with me. You know, it's Friday. You didn't have to be here at all. You know what I'm saying? You could be doing so much more, but you're here with me. You know, shout out to Della's World, Havoc, 360, man. Salute, brother. Tony, I appreciate y'all always, man. Y'all always here with me, always checking me out, always helping me out. Right way, man. Much love, brother. You came, check me out, share some game, man. You told me I showed you some game, and you said you was proud of me, brother. I appreciate you, man. Much love. I'm gonna check out your channel, man. You know that's how we do. Um, yeah, that's nothing but respect. Um, who else, man? I mean, y'all was cooking in here, man. I mean, y'all was cooking, man. Blue Line, Gorilla Back, much love, man. Thank you for finding my channel. Thank you for, you know, learning and giving me your ear to learn from me, man. That's what I want. That's what I want. So, you know what I'm saying, as a dog man, and inspire other dog men to, you know, to do the same and have high level of care for their programs and their dogs. So, you know what I mean, keep me posted with that female, man. However way I can help you, just let me know. You know what I mean? Blue Line, thank you for checking me out, brother. You know what I'm saying? You always come and check out real fast. Much love, man. I appreciate that. Always, man. I mean, so much love to y'all, man. Nell Mac, I appreciate you, bro, coming to check it out, coming to kick it with me. You know what I mean? For sure. We gonna do it again though. We gonna do it again. We gonna run these Jones up, man. We gonna run these shows up, man. We gonna do this. I got so much game to give, man. You know what I mean? We gonna run these things up, man. So that's just how it is, man. I appreciate all y'all, man. Everybody in the chat, man. I appreciate y'all. Big salute, man. Much love. Genuinely. Easy.